Alright, without further ado, we're finally gonna get started here. Why the Metaverse was doomed from the start. Alright, we're giving it a go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Mark Zuckerberg's grand vision for a new mixed reality internet will certainly go down in history as one of the most spectacular financial and technological failures of the 21st century. Despite investing over $73 billion into this project, Meta recently announced that Horizon Worlds, the central pillar of its VR strategy, will transition to a mobile-first experience, a far cry from what was originally pitched in the now famous announcement video. And it's actually that video that I want to focus on, because the announcement video is all that most people ever really saw of the metaverse. And in my view,
Yeah, all this Metaverse stuff, I just don't get it, dude. Sometimes I do try not to yap too much, you know, because we're here to commentate on the video and not just hear all of my thoughts, but yeah. Sometimes I do have thoughts to share, like this whole metaverse business. What a big mess this was. Yeah, didn't you hear all the crazy stories about metaverse? How people were like buying land in metaverse, right? I don't know if that was true or not, but I remember hearing a story about that, about how some like celebrities were just putting together, you know, biddings on to buy land in metaverse. Like someone spent a pretty penny to put their house next to, like, who was it, like Drake's house or something like that, or someone's house in metaverse. It's absolutely crazy.
that makes it one of the most interesting and revealing documents of our time. So I don't use the word insane lightly, but the 2021 Facebook Connect Metaverse announcement video is
Same here, Sneaky, same
insane.
here.
And to be clear, I really mean this word in the literal sense of being out of touch with the real world. An irony that will come up throughout this analysis, given that the entire pitch of the metaverse is that all of humanity will enter a fundamentally new reality, one that, by the way, will be owned by Mark Zuckerberg. Because remember, he personally has majority voting power at Meta, making him uniquely powerful in the company. And that means Mark gets what Mark wants, for better or worse. So unlike other big tech product announcement videos that might be in a similar category, the Metaverse announcement video is more of a window into the mind of Zuckerberg himself, rather than of the company he leads. So, what do we see?
Yeah, that's another thing I was getting at there. Yeah, it's like, of course, this is something some dystopian billionaire would want, right? Especially the whole, you know, since it's all digital, you know, you don't own it. You know, like the big old, you know, conspiracy, but is actually not a conspiracy about, you know, the big global reset where like you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. You'll live in a virtual pod and live in a virtual world and eat nothing but bugs and protein powder. Like it's like I don't usually take stock in that kind of thing, but you know, lately, you know, I see crap like the whole metaverse thinking. It's like, yeah, like these things actually want to do it. Oh my gosh, it's just so crazy. It may sound fun to live in a virtual world with zero consequences, but you know, like it's not really living. You know, it's a dream, it's a fantasy, it's not real life, and it certainly shouldn't be your goal. Kind of scary to think about that that's what some people want. Like I said, like looking into the mind of an out of touch billionaire, if that's what he wants, you know, fine, more power to you. But to try and make it a big old global thing, yeah, to me, that's just the stuff of nightmares, being stuck in like a virtual hell of your own making, dude. It makes you think of that one like experimental vault in Fallout 3, right? I don't know how many of you play Fallout 3, but there was like this one vault, all the residents were like attached to this like VR simulator dream thing. Honestly, I wouldn't blame him. Oh, yeah, or that too. Yeah. Ugh, but yeah, just the whole being trapped in a virtual world thing. And even anime, there's like way back in the day, there's this anime I watched called Dot Hack, where the main protagonist, Tsukasa, I think, that he was also trapped in the game. Yeah, and you know, as a kid, you might think, oh, that'd be fun, you know, no homework, no school, I can just live in the game world. They know you wouldn't, you would hate it instantly. Yeah, you know, a virtual world is not a fantasy. It is not. Oh my gosh. Because the second they unplug it, that's it. Lights out, man. Lights out. It's all over. Oof, that's not something you want to think about. It's very creepy.
When we peer into the dream world of Mark Zuckerberg's imagination. Well, that's where the production of this video comes into play, because ultimately this whole presentation is a product of his vision. Hundreds of people collaborated on this
Well, that's
sleek bit
true.
of corporate filmmaking in an effort to
And
faithfully
if we start
represent
watching
Mark's
anime, don't
particular
start with
vision for the
Berserk.
future. And that means we can deconstruct and critically analyze this film as we would any other piece of media. So right off the top, the camera pans down and we see Mark turn his smile on. This will be the first of many uncomfortable on-camera interactions that
Yeah.
really set the tone of this entire piece. So at some point, the producers decided that they wanted long takes. In other words, the video rarely cuts when Mark is speaking. Now, the logic here is probably that they wanted it to feel more like an actual keynote presentation.
That's also true. That's also true in a way. And yeah, like you said, like people have these ideas about billionaires, right? You know that they could change the world if they wanted. They have all this money. It's like they really don't. You know, like not in the sense that you and I do. You know, billionaires have like the shareholders, the stock people to answer to. They have employees to pay and all that. Yeah, that's also not all it's cracked up to be. Yeah, truthfully, they can't do everything that they want either. It's not in the real world. And I'm not sure if Mark wanted his own little playground to do whatever he wanted, he could. But the things he wants to do in that world, he couldn't do in the real world.
This was a fatal mistake because long takes don't really leave much margin for error on set. Movements need to be choreographed and rehearsed. So Mark has to get out of his chair at a particular beat in the dialogue, all while trying to read from a moving, camera-mounted teleprompter. Now, this would be difficult even for a charismatic and competent actor, which, as we'll see, Zuckerberg is not. So, as Mark stares into the lens holding an unsettling smile, he introduces the metaverse as the next logical step in media technology. So first came text, then photos, then video. So the next digital platform will therefore be virtual reality. Now, importantly, Mark does not present his future as something you could do. He presents it as something you will do. Mark's future is not hypothetical. All of his language is definite. And I can assure you that was a conscious decision.
You're going to really feel like you're there with other people. You're going to have a wardrobe of virtual clothes for different occasions. You're going to be able to invite people over. You'll get to decide when you want to be with other people, when you want to take a break and teleport to a private bubble to be alone.
See, the idea is to frame this meta product as the next evolution in the internet. So it's less of a pitch and more of a prediction. Mark, with his vision, already sees the future. He's just here to report it and illustrate it for you. But this premise of inevitability is another mistake on the part of the writers and producers, because in presuming to already know the desires of the viewer, it implicitly insults their intelligence and their sense of autonomy. Now, another wonderful cliche of corporate film production is the walk and talk featured here. The idea is to energize the presentation with movement and direction, but the result is often this kind of listless gait. It's like an unnaturally slow walk that nobody ever does.
Yeah, like if you want proof that lizard people exist, like say you got Mark Zuckerberg right there, right? Yeah, this is a weird uncanny valleyness to corporate videos, right? They're kind of disgusting in a way. My gosh. And this guy's breaking down exactly why. Because it's how unnatural it is, They try to make it all, welcoming. You got this comfortable room, nice lighting, nice curtains and stuff. But it feels off. It feels off. It's weird. It's weird. And it's just hard to get comfortable in a place like this. Like, I don't know, the paradox of how it wants you to be comfortable, right? I don't mind using other emotes here. It's perfectly fine by me. Yeah. Indeed, all emotes are fine by me. It's hard to explain why knowing you're supposed to be comfortable makes you uncomfortable, right? It's kind of weird. Yeah, I really don't get it, but it's like, ugh, like don't do that, man.
As in real life. Then again, this presentation has very little to do with real life, as we'll see.
It's
another notable creative choice here is bathing every scene in crisp morning sunlight. So golden hour is pretty tricky, actually, because you have kind of a short window of opportunity to shoot in. And so for a production as sensitive as this one, it's safe to assume this is artificial morning light. It's a good reminder, by the way, that everything you see in this video went through a rigorous process of conceptualization, design, and most importantly, approval. If you've ever worked on corporate film production, as I have more times than I'd like to admit, then you know that the chain of approvals required for a project like this is absolutely brutal. Probably worse than a Hollywood movie. You can bet that every single detail in this video was meticulously debated by a committee of overpaid bureaucrats. Even apparently little things like the bicycle in the shot are done with the intent of humanizing Mark, reminding viewers that despite his dystopian vision of the future, he still goes outside. Now, the walk and talk leads to the most important moment in this whole video when Mark steps into the metaverse, specifically into his Horizon home space. And more important,
Yeah, that they're like, I guess they intended to be like a cool shot, but yeah, I don't know. It just adds to the creepiness factor. You know, I wonder if he'll say it, but it just emphasizes how fake the entire video was, even from the start, right? Yeah, like, you know, the room intended to be comfortable wasn't real, and now it's not real. Yeah, exactly, Sneaky, exactly. Yeah. And don't worry, like I said, I absolutely do not mind at all. You know, other people have really great emotes, perfectly fine.
then what you see here is what you don't see here. Because one thing you actually never see in this entire presentation is Mark Zuckerberg wearing a VR headset. Not once. In fact, in the entire 75-minute presentation, there's only one shot of a person wearing an Oculus headset. It's near the end as part of a brief tech demo. So isn't that remarkable that in a video meant to showcase the promise of virtual reality technology, the actual reality of the technology, the hardware that is necessary for it to work, is conspicuously absent? Might this
Yeah. You know, the big heavy headset there. That's like another aspect of, you know, VR that people don't talk about. You know, living in your big virtual world means you have to wear these ridiculous super heavy goggles right on your head, and you'll get a monster headache from hell if you wear the thing all the time, right? And that's heavily dystopian. You know, you're not just gonna live in a pod. You're gonna have a giant headset attached to your head the entire time. And if you try to take it off, you're gonna get zapped or worse. That is beyond dystopia, man. Like who came up? Like, there's a reason why VR failed. You know, nobody wants to go through that.
be because the image of a computer attached to a human face is profoundly unnerving, deeply unpopular, and incongruous with the intended message of this
he
video.
gets it.
Cue the overpaid marketing team. Just don't show it. Anyway, Mark gets invited to join some kind of virtual hangout, so it's time to get dressed. And I absolutely love this moment because his avatar starts as just plain black pants and shirt. He briefly considers being a skeleton or an astronaut, and then ends up in plain black pants and shirt again. Oh, and of course, the Steve Jobs-esque white sneakers, a little Freudian clue about how Mark wants the world to see him. The irony being that he's a cartoon of Steve Jobs. At this point, we enter Mark's POV, which presumably is meant to demonstrate the actual experience of being in the metaverse. And again, this scene is full of hilarious contradictions. So a group of hip young adults are playing cards in an Earth-orbiting space station. And importantly, what you're seeing is not in-game footage. This isn't a demo of any kind. Now, this is an entirely fabricated animated scene. It's a purely fictional illustration of some imagined future of this product. And it sure looks like the word Pixar was referenced in the creative brief, another company founded by Steve Jobs.
Have any of you guys ever played VR chat? I haven't, but I have a friend who does, and yeah, like it's nothing like this. Okay, it's never gonna be anything like this. Okay, it's gonna be a mess of people running around. You're gonna have kids screaming in microphones while you hear vacuum going on or TV going on in the background, or lots and lots and lots of fans. You know, you're gonna have some sus couple in the corner doing some kind of chat thing that you don't want to think about, and you're gonna have another group of people over there just shouting slurs at everyone, and another group next to them yelling at them for saying slurs. You know, this, you know, super clean, wholesome Chungus VR future is never gonna be reality. Okay, not while human nature is a thing. Okay, someone is gonna try and kind of ruin it for everyone else. That just, some people are total stinkers like that. Okay, you're not getting your perfect VR future with the wholesome Chungus Reddit bot here. Okay, yeah, moderating that thing is gonna be hell. Okay, you just can't do it. It's like playing whack-a-mole. Okay, whack-a-mole. You know, you ban one person who says slurs, 10 more people who say slurs are gonna show up. Okay, it's impossible. You can't fight human nature.
Joined by some friends who are calling from Soho to tell them about some cool augmented reality street art that they've just discovered. It's kind of like a bunch of moving squiggles. And with a wave of his hand, Mark teleports the artwork into his spaceship so that he can appreciate it for himself, thus extracting this street art from any sense of place and context, which is the point of street art. I know this might sound like a nitpick, but I think it's just worth lingering on the fact that, in this high concept tech demo about how this
that's cool,
technology
Sneaky.
will
That's
empower
pretty cool.
people to appreciate art in new ways, nobody paused to ask what the social and cultural function of street art actually is, like why it exists and why people enjoy it, namely that it's on a street in public. Oh, and the artwork actually starts disappearing until someone pays the artist to make it stay. Everything will be a transaction, and guess who will be taking a cut? Now, I don't know about you, but I can't imagine a more stark violation of the ethos of public art than this. Okay, so this prison...
Yeah, and that's exactly exactly. That's part of the experience of VR chat. Sure, you might have a private chat room that's all wholesome chungus among group of friends, but in reality, you're going there to see the chaos of it all. There's no point in going to VR chat if it's not going to be a complete mess from the moment you step in. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's why these corporate billionaires will never get it. That they want it to be clean and wholesome and totally PG, where nothing bad ever happens. But it's like, you're not gonna get that, okay? One, because even if you could enforce it, it'd be boring as hell and nobody would go there. Yeah, exactly. If you want to have a serious conversation, meet in person or something. Your virtual world is not the place to hang out to be super serious. Yeah, that's why people like VR chat. They go because it's a mess. It's more fun that way. Obviously, there are some cases where some people take it too far. Where like they're not joking and they like mean it in a way. Yeah, sure, those people you might want to just ban or time out, tell them to chill out a bit. But like 90% of the time, it's just people having fun. There's like a in a weird way, there's a wholesomeness to being free to be yourself, even if it's not corporate approved. Yeah, exactly, Sneaky, exactly. I was there 3,000 years ago, Gandalf. Okay, I was there at the early age of the internet. Yeah, everyone you talk to was a guy. Okay, and you see that reflected even today. In the modern form. VTubers like me. I'm not a woman. I'm actually a 300-pound redditor using a voice changer. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. I'm a dude. Oh, the voice changer is failing. Oh no. Yeah, exactly. That's just why we're here, to have a bit of a good time. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. This is why corporate nightmares fail, and the VR nightmare is a true reality. Okay. Yeah, exactly. And I get it. I get it. You want to look at someone attractive while you're playing. It's why I play a male character. Because I want to look at an attractive dude while I'm playing. It's not rocket science, people. It's not rocket science. People want to look at good-looking people.
The presentation shows us several hypothetical scenarios in which Mark imagines we might use the metaverse, one of which is a John Batiste concert. But the more you think about what's being portrayed here, the less it makes sense. I'll show you what I mean. So a woman in Kyoto sees on Instagram that her friend is attending a John Batiste concert in LA.
Yeah,
like her friend
sense.
is physically at the concert with her real body. So the woman pushes a button and joins her via the metaverse, and instantly appears next to her at the concert as a kind of Force ghost. Now, the woman who is actually at the concert can see her friend appear beside her, and so I guess that means she's wearing AR glasses. But hold on, let's just stop and ask ourselves, what technology would actually be required in order for this scene to work? Well, the woman appears as a fully embodied, photorealistic, three-dimensional avatar, wearing the same clothing that she's wearing in Kyoto. So that would mean she somehow needs to be scanned, because that's the only way her real clothing could appear as a texture on her live-action 3D avatar. Then all of her movements would also need to be tracked in real time. So she needs to have some kind of hardware that does this, probably through some kind of advanced optical or inertial tracking hardware that she has at her apartment. The AR glasses would also need to have...
Yeah. To even try to make this a reality, you're in your pod wearing your heavy headset, and you don't get to wear your own clothes even. And inside your pod, you're gonna be wearing these things, okay? These ugly little trackers. I think things like this are what 3D VTubers have to wear, right? Or anybody who uses a 3D avatar. And yeah, exactly. How are you going to avoid the ping? You can't avoid the ping. Yeah, like LA and Japan. women are very, very far apart, okay? Even if you could project your Force Ghost over there, project your Force Ghost to be there physically at the concert via Force Ghost, you know, you're still gonna have massive, massive lag and ping. Especially if other people try to join in on the concert too. Yeah, exactly. Even if you're on board, right? Say you're on board, like, oh my god, sign me up, I must do this. Like the cost of it alone is not gonna be worth it. You know, unless you wanna, like, you know, lag, you know, like, uh, 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 you know, I try to simulate lagging, but you know what I mean, right? Just ugh. It would not be worth it, dude. Yeah, the massive ping alone will make it very fun. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's not going to be our problem, right? It's not. At least it won't be our problem. Yeah, like people try to don't think about these things, but it's true. I think it's true. You know, the ping alone will just be absolute nightmare.
Efficient spatial and contextual awareness to project the woman's image cohesively into the physical environment. Also, hey, concerts are pretty loud, so she better have good speakers in those glasses to be able to hear her friend. Own a microphone too, so they can talk to each other. And hold on a second, how is the woman in Kyoto seeing the concert? Remember, this is a real concert. So if you think about it, that's only possible if there's a camera at the venue. And because the woman from Kyoto is looking at the concert and at her friend from a particular viewpoint, that camera has to be where her Force Ghost is standing. So that means from the perspective of the other concert goers. This woman at the concert is actually just talking to a camera that is positioned beside her. So does that mean there's just thousands of capture cameras positioned in the auditorium so that people in the metaverse can teleport to wherever their friends are? Or did the woman have to bring her own tripod and capture device? Look, I won't labor the many vast technological leaps that would be necessary in order for this scene to happen as depicted. But obviously this scene is portraying a future that is light years beyond our current capabilities. So then that raises the question, why is this part of Meta's marketing pitch at all? It has nothing to do with the reality of the product. You could ask the same question about this scene in which a man in the real world plays chess with his friend, also a Force Ghost. And again, I ask, what kind of technology is capturing and tracking in real time his friend's full body photorealistic?
And like, you know, if you're gonna play chess online with your friend, you have chess.com, okay? You have chess.com. You have blogchess.com, you know, and can't remember what the other one was called, but basically you have options to play chess online. You don't need this creepy virtual board thingy here. Oh, ouch. Oh no, Sneaky, that sucks. And to think there are kids nowadays who say, oh no, you know, I have 10 ping, this is unplayable. They cannot survive what we went through, man. Oh man, sorry I had to go through all that there. But this here is just a mess, dude. It's just a mess. You don't need Metaverse to play chess with your friend online, dude.
And how is his friend seeing the chessboard from that point of view? Again, there must be some kind of camera or capture device placed where his Force Ghost eyes are. But the video conveniently doesn't show us that camera. You see this kind of thing throughout the video, including this whole section about remote work. Like, why is this cartoon woman waving at a camera? And if she's a cartoon, why is she walking somewhere? And the same goes for these people playing virtual ping pong. So both players are wearing AR glasses, but there's no hint of any of the capture or tracking technology that would be needed in order to represent accurate, real-time movement in 3D space. And sure, maybe you're going to tell me, well, the tech is there, we're just not seeing it in this video. But that's my point. This video is not concerned at all with actually demonstrating how this augmented or virtual reality technology might work, even in the future, let alone in its current state of development. It's not a product launch or even a demo. It's just a cartoon about the world Mark Zuckerberg is telling you that you will one day live in. Now, as you can tell, the big problem with the design and execution of this video is that the producers failed to recognize the importance of point of view in telling this story. Now, perspective is already very important in any film, but it's doubly important in a film for which one's point of view in reality is also the subject. But this failure is present even in some of the more mundane parts of the film, like the interviews that Mark does with various Meta staff members. Now, as it's plain to see, these are not real interviews. They're fully scripted and staged. Again, a classic mistake in corporate filmmaking. You can even tell that they're not looking at each other. They're clearly reading from a teleprompter. Yikes. Of course, the entire premise
Yeah, that's just another thing that adds to the whole, fake comfort, so it becomes discomfort feeling. I haven't seen any of the skill trees of Half Exile. Wonder if it is that insane. Well, I haven't tried Arc either, but that does sound fun. But yeah, this here is just so creepy. Like, yeah, corporate videos are like disgusting. Oh my gosh. If you have a link to it, sure, I can take a look after the video. Surely can't be that bad.
Of an interview is that two people are speaking candidly. So watching an obviously fake interview can be deeply unsettling as the speakers try to act out natural conversation and inevitably fail.
And that game basically got me and my friends through the first few months of the pandemic.
That's awesome. If you enjoy
This
that,
is why
does
so many
that.
people in this video, including Mark, seem to
Okay, yeah, it's like that. It's like watching androids try to act out being human. It's awesome. No one says that. No one talks like that. It's weird. Like, it's just fake and exaggerated, and it's pretty creepy. Like, what the heck, dude? It's like if you're trying to sell your product, you could have done it in a worse way, man.
not
God.
know what to do with their hands while speaking. It's because they've been told to act naturally in a social situation that does not normally exist. At one point, Mark says point blank to this woman's face,
I'm excited to announce that the Rockstar Games classic Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is in development for Quest 2.
now just imagine how you would feel if someone said to you in a conversation, I'm excited to announce. So
Ugh.
the script doesn't even bother to distinguish keynote speech copy from conversational dialogue. In fact, this is such a glaring error in script writing that I actually think it's unlikely that any professional writer made this mistake.
Yeah, like, there's a way
It's
to
more likely
translate
this
that
was
to
a
sound a bit more
last-minute
natural,
edit from
right?
someone on the marketing or executive team that nobody on the creative team had any authority to override. Sorry, just reliving some trauma here. It's actually a classic example of where corporate filmmaking goes wrong because the effect isn't just minor. The whole video suffers from this because it's addressing its audience as though they're kindergarten students. Now, just to prove that I'm not blindly
Yeah. That there is another part of the whole corporate thingy. Oh, you gotta head out sneaky. Oh, no worries, man. Yeah, like pretty late at night for you. All right. Well, thanks so much for hanging out here, man, Sneaky. Pretty great having you here. Yeah, you just take care out there, all right? Thanks again for hanging out. Take care, Sneaky. Oh gosh, yeah. That's another thing for these creepy corporate videos. 5 hours of sleep. Same here. Only I have Monster Energy instead of brandy. Have a good night, Sneaky. Take care. Try to get as much sleep as you can, okay? Gosh, yeah, but these just... Oh my gosh, I can't get... That's just the whole creepiness of these corporate videos. Especially the treating you like a child bit. And why they can never handle it the way VR chat handles it, because people do not like being talked down to. Stop. Have a good night. Bye-bye. Yeah, the video's just condescending in that way, isn't it? Like, oh, look at you, aren't you a good little human? It's ugh. Like, it's creepy in a different kind of way, man.
pessimistic about this kind of technology, I'll acknowledge the few parts of this video that are actually well done. So there's a short scene in which a mother and daughter use augmented reality to see a virtual map of the solar system. Nice. That makes sense. And it's one of the few scenes that doesn't require you to completely suspend all of your faculties of critical thought. Oh, and there's also an immersive nature documentary narrated by
Ew.
David Attenborough. I'd check that out. Actually, that reminds me, I've been thinking I should make a video about him, so hit me up on Patreon if you agree. But unfortunately, the actual promise of immersive technology is completely drowned out by what has turned out to be one of the most profoundly tone-deaf pieces of corporate propaganda ever produced. So looking back on this video after 5 years, with the COVID pandemic now well in the rearview mirror, and the
God,
metaverse
yeah.
all but abandoned, what conclusions should we draw? Well, I think this selfie taken by Mark Zuckerberg in Horizon Worlds 1 year after the announcement
Ugh.
will certainly be the most enduring image of the metaverse. And that's because it puts into stark focus the enormous disparity between what this product is and how this product was portrayed in this video. That disparity in any other marketing campaign would likely have been checked by a process of critical collaboration. But, as we've seen, when a large creative project is led by a single unquestionable visionary, the creative process is often fatally corrupted.
Look, I just love the presentation so far. It's such visionary stuff. But it's
So what we're really seeing
Visionary
when we watch a
stuff. Of
cringy
course it
piece
is.
of corporate
Of course it
slop
is.
like this one is not a lack of creative talent. It's the sycophancy that results from systems of unchecked power. By many accounts, most of the people who worked on the metaverse didn't really believe in the
Talking so much,
product.
I just snooze
And the
another
same is
ad, I don't
probably
know.
true for the people who made this video. I'm sure many of them were just doing what they were told. Holographic Force Ghost at the park? Sure. Pixar Zuckerberg in a VR foiling sesh? Whatever. And the reasons this matters for you and me is that, well, $73 billion worth of talent and capital that could have been spent on more worthy projects went down the drain. So one lesson is that the billionaires leading our most powerful companies are profoundly out of touch with the real world. A
Very.
second lesson is that no amount of money will turn a bad idea into a good idea. And a third lesson is that if you're producing a film whose purpose is to win the hearts and minds of millions
Yeah,
of people,
exactly. Like, oh,
you
I think
better
I
pay
think I've
due
heard of
respect to
that.
the craft of filmmaking. Because without the basic sensibilities of a real storyteller at the helm of this project, the failure of the metaverse was already virtually guaranteed. So thanks for watching. Check out my Patreon if you'd like to
Well
support
done
this
video.
channel.
Yeah, very well
and I'll see
done.
you on
Really
the next one.
captures the creepiness of corporate videos and why they're so ugh. God. Oh wow. Yeah, that was a really great video here. I'll link everyone so everyone can give it a watch and a like themselves here. Corporals will never get it, okay? Corporals will never get it. Corporals are not people. Oh, oh my god. Thanks to Lego. You're right. You're right. Oh my god. I totally forgot. Here we are. Okay, let's see here. We're looking at here. Oh. Wait, this is the skill tree? Whoa. That is certainly a tree. Oh my gosh. This is the Path of Exile tree? Where do you even start? I reckon we start down here. Okay. Wow. I can see why at first glance it would be a bit intimidating. But yeah, zooming in, I can see how it starts to make sense as you go along. Yeah, a bit intimidating at first, but wow. But yeah, I do see the vision now. I see the vision. I'm not pretending too much. I think I can start to get it. Like for example, you know, looking at these here, like I don't know what the stats are, but I can intuit from here. Like if it were me, you know, mana is like energy, right? I would definitely go for here, right? If I click on that. And from here, increase your cast speed, or I could go here. Maximum mana, that sounds good too. It's from a game called Path of Exile. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I'll try it out myself, but yeah, from here I can sort of intuit it. I want mana. I continue this way. I want more mana, and okay, yeah, sure, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever play it. Maybe not yet. If you just go from a starting point, you're gonna try it out, Max. That does sound fun, huh? But my goodness, that certainly looks like a lot of options to choose from. Yeah, so having a planner like this, it does help out, doesn't it? Someone drew a crab on this tree. Yeah, I can see that. You can probably make all sorts of art with this. All right.